This is Heather Sides. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And once a month I come to you with a video of alternate ideas that you can use for your paper pumpkin kit. If you're new to Stampin' Up! Or you are unfamiliar with what paper pumpkin is, hang in there. In a couple minutes I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of a description of what paper pumpkin is all about. First though, let's attend to a couple of business things, such as making sure that I've got the video going correctly so that I can see all of your comments and be able to answer them and see what's going on outside of my little stamp room. So bear with me while I check this out. Let's see here. Why is it not showing up on my computer? Let's try this again. Sometimes you got to play with it a little bit to get it going the right way. Let's see. It does not want to cooperate today. Okay, let's try this. It still is being strange. Well, maybe it'll get started here in just a minute. Let me check something. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I check the button to get things going. So, let's see. Gosh, I hate it when this happens because I hate wasting your time with this. Bear with me. Okay, let's see. Okay. It looks like it might be working now, which is kind of odd. Let's see if it'll let me see comments. Oh, good, I can see comments now. So, looks like we're good to go, everybody. Okay, so welcome. Again, I apologize for that. Like I said, I just hate to waste your time with that kind of technical yuck. Anyway, before we get going, I want to extend a big, huge thank you to those of you who follow me regularly. You'll know that last Wednesday I was not able to do my live. I had a very sick puppy, and so I posted a thing just letting everybody know that I wasn't going to be on. I'm normally on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. And I just said I've got a very sick puppy and just can't do this tonight. And so many of you reached out to me with good wishes and telling, asking me how he was doing, and good wishes that he would heal quickly and be better. And I just can't tell you how much I really, really appreciate that. Sometimes I tend to be a little skeptical about the human condition, and it did me good to see how complete strangers reached out to me during that time, and I really want to thank you. It meant a lot. Just to give you a little bit of follow-up here, for those of you who are familiar with the situation, last March I got a puppy, a very long-awaited puppy. Finally got him about a month ago. He's a chewer. He likes to chew on everything, eat everything, and he had a Kong toy, kind of shaped like a bone, and he ate the end off of it. Yes, a toy that's supposed to be indestructible. A 4 or 5 month old puppy ate the end off of it. And so we immediately threw it away, but it looks like he swallowed a piece of it. We don't know if it happened at the time and that piece was just hanging out in his stomach, or if he found another piece somewhere and swallowed it. But last Monday, a week ago Monday, it started trying to, or I guess it was right around then. Anyway, it started trying to work its way through his system. It got lodged in his intestines, and we immediately took him to the emergency vet. We were kind of concerned that maybe he had swallowed something he shouldn't be, or shouldn't have. And long story made short, he had 3 surgeries within 5 days where they just kept having to cut off sections of his intestine and then try to reattach it, but the intestine was just in such bad shape that it wouldn't attach properly, and it was causing leakage and all these problems. So after the 3rd surgery, we decided the 3rd surgery was kind of our Hail Mary pass. After the 3rd surgery, he was doing really poorly, and so we had to make the decision to let him go, and it was very, very difficult, obviously, but it really did help that I had so many of you reaching out to me and just checking on the little guy and things like that. So I just really, really want to thank you. It's been a tough week, but every day gets easier. And when I'm ready, we will be filling our home with another little puppy. I'm just going to wait for the right one to come along. And when that happens, I'll know. So stay tuned. I may have another assistant in the near future. So anyway, again, thank you all very, very, very much. Okay, so moving on to happier things such as stamping. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to make 3 alternate cards for your paper pumpkin kit. And let me tell you a little bit about what paper pumpkin is all about. So we're going to get this turned around. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a special we have going on, and then I'll talk to you about paper pumpkin, okay? So hang on just a second while I turn this camera around. Okay. Make sure my camera is straight for you. I sit here and fiddle with it the whole night anyway, so that's just what you get with me. Got some hellos out there from Marcy and Marcia and Robin and Mary. Thank you guys so much for your kind words, and thank you for joining me tonight. It's good for my soul to get back into the swing of things. Hello, Kay. I see Kay's joined us. So let's get going on this stamping thing. Okay, so first I want to remind you guys that right now Sale-a-bration is going on. Sale-a-bration is our annual, not annual anymore, we do it twice a year right now, campaign where, okay, I'm crooked, and that is going to really, really bother me. So let's see here. I'm trying to watch it on my screen. On my computer screen, because this just really, really bothers me. Okay, so anyway, you guys, Sale-a-bration. This is a great time of year to stock up on stuff, because for every $50 you spend, there is a gift in this catalog that you can choose for free. There are 10 different gifts that are available. There's actually 11 gifts in here, but one of them is completely sold out already. But when you spend $50, you get to pick one of these gifts for free. There is one in here that includes a pack of designer series paper and a stamp set. And for that one, you need to spend $100. But these are all items you can get for free. There's stamps, there's dies, there's designer series paper. There's lots of really, really cool products in here. And so, definitely check it out. You can see them on my website if you go to if you go to heathersides.stampinup.net, you can see my website and you can check out all of the free gifts that are available through Stampin' Up, through Sale-a-bration. And you can also place your order there on my website at, again, heathersides.stampinup.net. There is no limit to the number of free gifts you can earn. So, for example, if you spend $100, you could get that $100 set, or you could get two $50 gifts. It's totally up to you. And again, there is no limit, and of course, no judgment on how much you can earn for free through Sale-a-bration. If you have any questions about that, definitely let me know. But it is, like I said, a great time of year to stock up on stuff because you can get free gifts from Stampin' Up! Another thing that's really good to sign up for this time of year is Paper Pumpkin. You can get your Paper Pumpkin subscription. You can get just 1 month to try it out, or you can buy a subscription of 3 months, 6 months, or a year. And those purchases also qualify for the Sale-a-bration gifts. So when you pre-purchase those kits, you get the free Sale-a-bration gifts. So it's definitely something to consider if you aren't already signed up with Paper Pumpkin. Here's how Paper Pumpkin works. It is our subscription kit, like I just mentioned, and every month you get a different kit, and you never quite know what's going to be in it. About a month ahead of time, Stampin' Up! Gives us a little bit of a teaser about what's in it, but then that's all we know. And when you get it, it's got everything you need in it, except for scissors, to make, generally it's cards, and you get the supplies to make about 9 different cards usually. Sometimes it's a project of some sort, but mostly it's cards. And like I said, you get all the supplies you need to make those cards. It also comes with this little flyer inside that shows you how to make 3 different cards that Stampin' Up! Has designed for you. And if you want quick and easy, there you go. That's the way to do it. But if you, maybe you're like me and you just like to think outside the box, then you can play with it and do whatever you want. On the back of it here, I'm going to find it. It also gives you a couple more, or 3 more alternate ideas. Here's a picture of everything that came in this month's kit. So if you don't have this month's kit, you can kind of see that it came with some card fronts, always comes with card bases, some die cuts, some really great die cuts. It came with some embellishments, some adhesives, and it always comes with a stamp set and an ink pad, a little Stampin' Spot. And it's a great way to build up your stash of stamps and inks if you're trying to just slowly get yourself started. But it's a great kit. It works great as a gift for somebody, or even just a gift for yourself for quick and easy cards, or like I said, thinking outside the box. So it really is a fun thing to sign up for. Now, I told you that every month they give you kind of a little bit of a teaser of what's coming up. What they do is you can order up until the 10th of the month for the next kit. So for example, the kit that people are ordering right now, they will be able to order until the 10th of August. And when August 10th hits, that kit cuts off and you cannot order that kit anymore after that. So for example, this kit right here that we're showing tonight, you cannot order it. But you can sign up for next month's kit and you will get that in August. Speaking of next month's kit, this is the little tip that we got about next month's Paper Pumpkin kit. It looks like it has to do with sunflowers, so I'm guessing it's going to coordinate quite well with our Celebrating Sunflowers stamp set, because they do often mix and match really well with something that we already have in our current line of products. Hi Tammy, welcome. So we know that it's going to come with 2 Stampin' Spots this month. Normally it's just 1. You'll get your stamp set, you'll get all your die cuts, your card bases, your card fronts, all sorts of stuff to make these fun little cards. This is all we know about it. So this is your hint for next month's kit. All right, so are you guys ready to get started? I'm going to show you 3 ideas and make them with you. And then I'm going to show you a few extras that I made just for ideas. But let's start with the ones that Stampin' Up! Designed for us to make. So hang on. Okay, so they also send you the envelopes. I forgot to mention, you get your envelopes with your kit too. So the 3 cards that Stampin' Up! Designed for us, we've got this one, Sending Good Thoughts, Wishing You All the Best, and then Can't Wait to See You. So these are the 3 cards. They're adorable. I love them. That Stampin' Up! Designed for us. And then I kind of went rogue and did my own thing, which, you know, is probably pretty typical of me, to tell you the truth. Okay, so let's see here. Get all my pieces in place. So let's start with the first card we're going to make tonight. Is this one. with the little birds on the beach, wishing you all the best. So let's get started on that. Got our card front. They come pre-scored and everything, so they're ready for you. Take my bone folder, get a nice crisp edge. Now let's start putting all of our little pieces together. Set my envelope aside. Now those of you who watch me on Wednesday know that I typically decorate the envelopes and such with my Wednesday cards. I don't do that with my paper pumpkin cards because usually they're already decorative. So there is no envelope decorating this evening. Let's go ahead and get started now. We have this piece, just a basic white square rectangle, I guess. And then what I did is I cut apart some of the card fronts that they provided in the kit. This one, I don't know how well, yeah, you can see it on the camera. There's little clouds in here, and this actually is a half of a sheet. It had water down here at the bottom. So I just wanted the sky. So let's go ahead and put the sky on. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. Line it up so that it's relatively straight. Now I have these two pieces, actually I have 3 pieces of crumb cake cardstock, and let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tear each and every one of them. I call this a guided tear because I'm keeping my thumb right here. So I'm tearing it against my thumb, and it helps to give me a little bit straighter of a line, but not so straight that it doesn't look right or look real. Oh, thank you, Tammy. That's very sweet of you. Let's go ahead and tear this one as well. Let's see about how high I'm going to want this. Let's see, tear off about that much. I have my fan going because it's about 8,000 degrees in my house. So if it's loud, I don't know if it is or not. If it is loud, let me know because I can certainly turn it off while we do this. Okay, so this one, I think I want to tear off, okay, about this much. Now let's start with, I like to decorate the inside of my envelopes, keeping this very, very simple. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a sandy beach at the bottom of the inside of my card. Put a little bit of liquid glue on there. As you know, I like to use liquid glue when I'm doing an edge piece like this because I can kind of wiggle it around and make sure it's on there straight before the glue really sets. It's, in my mind, probably the easiest way to do edge pieces like this. Then take my scissors and I'm just going to trim off the excess right here. Like that. Okay, so there's the inside of our card. Now, when you're just looking at that piece, it looks kind of weird because you're like, okay, whatever. But it does make sense with the front of the card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the card out of the way. I'm going to take my card front, and now I'm going to build my beach. Put my liquid glue away for the moment. And we're going to, oops, I don't think I meant to use quite that much adhesive, but at least we know it's not coming off. Okay, now I want to line this up so that it's lined up with the blue piece at the top, but I also want to line it up so that my margins are going to be about where I want them. Make sure my margins are straight. Perfect. And now I've got my little second piece of beach, but before I put it on, I do have a rule of thumb that I try to obey myself, and sometimes I'm better than others. But you want to stamp your image or your words or whatever you're stamping before you glue the piece down. Just because if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, it's a whole lot easier to fix if you just have to replace that piece and not the whole card. So, and all of the stamps I'm using today, by the way, come in this paper pumpkin kit. Sometimes I pull in stamps from other kits, but this month I'm just using them. And I want to show you something too. The kit came, I showed you everything it came with. This is very, very unusual for me, what I'm about to show you. I used almost every piece in the kit. Usually I've got leftovers. All I have left is this one bottle and this much of my twine. That's how much I loved this kit. I had so much fun with it and playing with it that I used almost every single piece. So, okay, put my ink pad away. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. Okay, so now let's lay down this part of our beach. I'm not going to put adhesive on the top because I want to be able to put my little bird's feet in there. My little seagull. Yes, I do know what kind of bird it is. Okay, so now just lining it up over the other piece. It should lay right on top there. It's off just a little bit, so let's try it again. There we go. Much better. So now I've got my little layers of beach right there, okay? Get my little birds out of the bag. 3 little birds. Put my little plastic bags away. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of glue. Okay, I just dropped something on my floor. I don't know what it was. Last time that happened where I dropped something and I didn't know what it was, my dog ate a pair of tweezers. So I really should get out of the habit of just saying, oh, I don't know what that was. We'll just, see what happens. Okay, so now I'm going to put my little bird guy in here. Okay. I toyed with the idea of using some dimensionals on that, but decided what I really wanted to stand out as the dimension on my card were the tear lines and the clouds in the background. So I didn't want to detract from the dies, but I didn't want to detract from the dimension that's already there on the card. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this little bird on here. Now this one bird, I've got one bird left. I did put a dimensional on him. A lot of times when you're layering things one right on top of the other, which this bird will be right kind of on top of the other bird, it does help if you use a dimensional because it just makes them stand apart from one another so it doesn't look like they just kind of blend into one another. And you know me, if one dimensional will do, I better put 3 on there because that's just how I roll. Okay, so peel the backs off my dimensionals, and I'm using the mini dimensionals, by the way. The kit actually comes with full-size dimensionals and just instructs you to cut them down when you need smaller ones, and that works great. But we also sell mini dimensionals so that you don't have to cut them down if you'd prefer not to. Okay, so now we're going to mount this onto our card. And for this, let me see if I have any of my adhesive foam sheets. Hang on. Oh, good. I did have some. I know I'm running out of them soon. Well, hello, Joan. Welcome. I am in Spokane, Washington. Where are you at? Okay. Now, this is the size of the foam dimensional sheet you get. You don't have to use a whole sheet, obviously. It comes with a pack of 6 of them. And I just tend to cut them up. So if I'm doing a full piece like this, I typically use a half of a sheet. I'll show you what I do. I then cut it in thirds lengthwise. And I like the sheets because I do like to use a lot of dimensionals to hold the bigger pieces up. And it's just quicker and easier with a sheet like this than using 10,000 dimensionals, which is what I tend to do. Oh, you were born in Spokane, Joan. I was born here also and grew up here. When I was in my early 20s, I moved to Seattle, well, the Seattle area. I lived there for 25 years. And then I married my high school sweetheart and moved back. Okay, pulling off the release tape. Now let's go ahead and mount this onto our card front. Be careful because the foam adhesive is very unforgiving, and once you lay it down, it does not like to come back up. So you want to make sure that you've got it right where you want it. So that's card number 1 with the inside with our little beach front there. So there we go. Card number 1 is in the books. Now let's get card number 2. I love the colors in this month's kit. I mean, I love everything about this month's kit. I can't get enough of it. Okay, so next we have this card right here. Let's see, the inside just has a tiny little seahorse, and I have the funniest thing to tell you guys about this little tiny seahorse. Okay, so I put all the stamps on blocks when I went to get started, so I had them all ready, right? And this is what it looks like. I don't know how well you can see it. I looked at it forever thinking that it went this direction, and it was a little octopus. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, that's so adorable. I have to use that little octopus. And so when I finally got ready to use it, I grabbed it sideways, and all of a sudden it hit me. It was not an octopus. It's a seahorse. And that just now, every time I look at it, it cracks me up thinking that. So let's go ahead and we'll get started making our octopus seahorse. Got our card front here in fresh freesia. And let's put a couple things away here. I'm kind of starting to make a little mess already. But if you don't make a mess, are you really stamping? Oh, Robin, I would love that too. I would love it. Are you guys flying out of Seattle for the Alaskan cruise? Welcome, Bonnie. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so here's all of our little pieces. Move my envelope out of the way here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece of coral, and I'm going to take my Wink of Stella. You guys are, well, you know, I'm only about a 5-hour drive from Seattle. Will you get me your guys' information of like when you guys are going to be in Seattle? Because I might be able to meet up with you guys. Oh, you're going to be there for a week and a half, Robin? Okay, definitely give me details. Okay, because also my daughter lives over there. So for me to go over and visit is not an unusual thing to have happen. Okay, so anyway, Wink of Stella. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm just going to color all over my Wink of Stella, just like this. Now, when I did my sample one, it was kind of a last-minute decision to put the Wink of Stella on, so it was already on my card. And that's not a big deal. You just have to be a little more careful about coloring in the little, appendages, whatever they are. So I just wanted to point that out to show you that if you plan ahead, which, I did this time, you can just go like this and it goes a lot quicker, a lot easier. There you go. But if you forget, it's not a big deal to just do it once it's already on the card. And I wish you could see Wink of Stella on the camera a little bit better because it's not super glittery. It is more shimmery than glittery, I guess. And I guess you can kind of see it on the camera. And I love it. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and stamp our pieces that need to be stamped. And we're going to use the Bermuda Bay ink. That's the color of the ink spot that came in the kit. Oh, Marsha's daughter's in Olympia. So I've got some good ties to Washington here. Okay, so the first stamp we need is, let me find it, these little dot guys like this. And then we also need the Thinking of You, found it. Okay, now we're just going to add a little bit of texture to our starfish right there. And then I chose to do the same on my tag here, like this. I don't have any particular pattern that I'm going for. I just wanted a little dimension. That's it. Easy peasy, right? And then, oh, clean off that stamp. And then we'll stamp our message. Ooh, good. Usually I take a lot more care to make sure I'm trying to get it straight, and I didn't. And as soon as I stamped that, I thought, oh, I hope it turned out straight. And it, not too bad. Now, while I'm stamping, let's go ahead and do the inside of our card as well, where we're going to use the little octopus starfish. I mean, octopus seahorse. And I just stamped him in the corner. Ta-da! Oh, looks like I got a little ink on there. I'm going to show you a little secret, though. When it comes to ink like that, when it's just a little bit, sometimes you can get rid of it. Let me show you how. I have this eraser that I just got this on Amazon. It's a sand eraser. And sometimes when it's, like I said, when it's just a really light boo-boo like that, I just made my starfish go away. You use the sand eraser and it'll come right off. See? Okay. Got my starfish back that ran away. Now let's work on the front of our card. So I have these two pieces right here. Let's stick one down to the other. The Bermuda Bay cardstock and basic white. Line it up here so my margins are relatively the same. And now we're just going to start putting pieces together. So put a little adhesive on this guy. And we're going to stick that right about here. Try to make sure it's on there straight. Putting things on straight is the bane of my existence, I'm telling you. Okay, so now for this piece, what I did is I took a little bit of my glue, and I kind of liked the idea of the ends of these being a little bit loose and sticking up. It just added a little more texture and dimension to my card. So I'm only putting glue around the center area, like that. And then, let's see, stick it on. Let's go this way. Right there. Now we have our Thinking of You banner, and we're going to use some dimensionals on that. Okay. Yes, Marcy, the sand erasers are a lifesaver, especially when you do what I just did, where it's just a little bit of ink that transferred from your fingers. And it's like, oh, I just ruined a really great card from that. And it's nice that you can save it. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to line this up here, kind of in the center of that banner. And I've got my little starfish guy. And again, just a little bit of adhesive in the center of it is really all you need. I'm going to stick it right there. And then the coup de grace. Move these plastic bags. Usually I wait to move my plastic bags, but with my fan going, they're lightweight and they like to blow all over. Okay. Now, actually, let's go ahead and mount this onto our card. And I really liked the card as is, but I felt like it just needed a little extra something, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, where are they? My polished dots, and the polished dots come in, what's the color? Pink something or other. Anyway, and then kind of clear ones. And we're going to play with the clear ones. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually color them with a Stampin' Blend marker. This is the dark, fresh freesia. And that's the nice thing about like these kind of embellishments. They take the ink from the markers really, really well. And so you can really make them any color you want. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing some small ones and some big ones. So I'm going to let those big ones dry a little bit before I go back and do another coat of them. And they dry fast because they're alcohol markers. So by the time I'm done with these little ones, it's ready for me to put another coat on. And I did do 3 coats just because it is a fairly light ink color. You can see, comparing them to the other white ones or clear ones, how well they pick up that color. And now let's take this is my Take Your Pick tool. Petal Pink, thank you, Marcy. That's what color was right here, Petal Pink. Now you can see how we'll just add these. And add some here at the bottom. There we go. Card number 2. What do you guys think? That nice little sparkly. I love the sparkle. In fact, when I started stamping, not when I started stamping, I've been stamping for ages, but when I re-signed up as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, one of the first things I taught my husband when I would make cards and show them to him was the phrase, "We like sparkle." So now he knows that whenever a card sparkles, he's supposed to say, "Because we like sparkle." So anyway, there is card number 2. You guys ready for card number 3? Now, card number 3 was actually inspired by a challenge my Love to Stamp group had. We do Wednesday challenges, and I haven't had the opportunity to do one in a while. This particular one, they gave us a sketch and said, make a card that somehow resembles this sketch, but you can kind of go rogue a little bit and do your own thing, make it a little bit different, but you do have to meet certain criteria. So I thought, oh, I'll do this and it'll be my weekly challenge. When I got done, I realized I missed one of the pieces of the challenge, but I still really like the card. You can see I decorated the envelope on this one. And this is the card that we made, or that I made. Let's see what I did on the inside. Okay, so let's get going on this card. So here we have a Bermuda Bay card base. Thank you, Marcy. Okay. Now, what I did is I took our one of each of the card fronts that comes with the kit, and I cut a whole bunch of these little flags out of those card fronts. Let me get them and show you what we've got. I have a bunch extra so I could kind of pick and choose what I wanted to use. Put some of this back in here so the little pieces don't blow off my desk. Okay. And what I did is I just used where'd it go? I used these dies, the stylish shapes. I cut the banners. And then, of course, I used my layering circles for when we do our sentiments. And you guys know I love my layering circles dies. So I made the banners, and then I just cut them in half because I didn't need them to be as long as the die actually makes them, which then gave me twice as many of the little flags. Okay, let's see here. So first thing I did is, let's do our stamping so that that's done, and then we can just piece everything together, okay? So again, I loved those little weird little dot things. Whoops, ink on my fingers. I lost my weird little dots. They're there. And so I just added a little bit like that. There we go, just to give it a little something. Then I also have, where'd it go? This little piece, this piece actually came in the kit. Ooh, more flags. And first what I did is I took my fresh freesia, and I've got the little starfish stamp. There. And stamped a few little starfishes on there. Then I took the Thinking of You stamp. We're just going right across the middle here. There we go. Oh, I still want to do the inside too. So let's do the inside while we're doing all of our stamping. Only I'm going to put this nice bright color away before I lay down in it. And I'm just going to do a bunch of these little starfish in the corner. There. Looks good. Now we'll move that back out of the way till we're ready for it. Close the ink pad and let's get to work putting this baby together. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work with the front of my card. And when I did this initially, I just kind of laid the pieces down, figured out what do I want where, you know, just kind of a dry run. Now, sometimes what I'll do is if I want to make sure everything's somewhat centered, I will get my two end pieces and my middle piece, and I'll glue them on first, because then that kind of gives me a base to work with. So let's see. There. Now the other thing I like about this particular design is it doesn't matter if my tags are straight or if they're kind of cattywampus, because that's kind of the fun of it, is that they kind of go all over the place. Okay, so now let's put a few more of these guys on here. And you can see I'm just sort of putting them in random patterns here. There's not any real particular way for this to go. And our last little flag. It's going to go right there. It's really pretty like that, right? Okay, next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glue away. Now, I wanted to make sure this piece stays down really, really well, because it is, it's not just going straight onto this piece right here. It is going to be sort of bumpy. So I actually went ahead and I decided to use tear and tape to glue this piece down, just because it is probably the strongest adhesive we have. I imagine my Seal Plus would have worked just fine, but just to be sure, I chose to use the tear and tape. And tear and tape is quick and easy. Okay, so now when you put tear and tape on, you want to go over it with like your bone folder or something of that nature, just to make sure it's pressed in there really, really nice. And then you can take your pick tool and just pull that release tape right off. Now let's line this up, figure out where we want it. Tear and tape is also rather unforgiving, so make sure that you are placing your piece right where you want it, and then push it down. And then we've got our little bottle, and I've got some of the linen thread here, and I'm just going to wrap it around the neck of the bottle a few times, and then we're going to tie a cute little bow as I unwind the whole thing instead of tying a bow. Okay. Okay. Now just play with the bow to get it to be the right size of loops and tails that I want. And let's see. Yeah, I'm going to want to trim those down a bit. And then we're just going to put it on here on our card at a bit of an angle. Okay, yes, I did use dimensionals. Sometimes I can't tell just by looking at it. Hey, Crystal, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. So I'm really only going to put the dimensionals on. Did I put it all the way through? Yeah, I did. Okay, we're going to put them everywhere. Sometimes when you're putting something on a piece that's already layered, you don't want to put dimensionals where they overlap because it's already lifted up a little bit, and then you end up with kind of weird the way things lay. But it turned out fine with this one. So now pulling all the little backs off. Let me show you an easy way to pull the backs off. You just take your pick tool and you pick them off like that. And then the other nice thing is all your little backs are in one spot. You can throw them all away together. And now let's just put this on here at an angle like that. We've got our circles. This one came with the kit. This one I used my layering circles dies. So let's piece these two together. Now this one, I'm going to do exactly what I just talked about, where I am not going to put, hang on, I got to find my dimensionals. I am not going to, oh, they're there. I'm not going to put dimensionals on the whole thing because part of it overlaps that bottle, which is already lifted up. So if I put dimensionals under the whole thing, it's going to kind of lay like this because this side is going to be twice as high because there's two layers of dimensionals. So I'm just going to put a couple right there and a little bit of just regular adhesive right there. There. And there is card number 3. They came pretty quickly tonight, didn't they? Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out all the cards that we made this evening. Take a look at them. I'm going to show you a couple of extras, well, a few extras that I also made with my kit. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with this kit, and I used almost every single piece. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Put these aside for the moment. Thanks, Robin. Okay, so one card I made is this one. And I wish you could see more. Oh, you're absolutely welcome, Joan. Thanks for joining us. This one, what I did for the background, let's see if you can see that shimmer at all. What I did is I took my blending brushes, I used 3 different shades of blue, and I blended the lightest one, and then the middle one, and then the darkest one, so they all kind of went together. Then I took one of my spritzers. Spritzer, you can get a pack of 3 of them for like $3.95. They're really great price. Hey Tina, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And what I did is I took the piece I had just colored with my blending brushes, and then I spritzed it with water, just plain water. I didn't do a ton of water because I didn't want my paper to be excessively wet, but see how it's got kind of those little blotches? That comes from getting it wet. Then what I did, because I just didn't want to wait, it is still sort of damp, so I took my heat embossing tool and dried it. But you could also do that step first and let it dry while you're working with the rest of the card. Then I took my Wink of Stella and I just did this kind of thing where I took the lid off, but tapped, and it sprinkled some of the Wink of Stella on here. So there's big sparkles all over this, and you can kind of see them a little bit. But anyway, that's what I did for the background water. Then of course the dies that come with it. Again, I used a torn piece for my sand at the bottom and stamped it with my little octopus seahorse. So that was one card I made. Another one with those same pieces, but just kept it really simple. Used the card front piece that, I don't know, can you see that this piece has like little mermaid scales? Ooh, there's even a piece of hair in this one. And I added a few little rhinestones just to step it up a little notch with some starfish inside. This was another one of the card fronts that came with it. Again, very simple with a boat inside. And then finally this one. This is where I had one of each of the card fronts left over, so I cut it into strips and then just pieced them together like this. Again, very, very simple. And then one of the stamps is this seaweed stuff, and so I used different colors and created just a little moment there in the corner. So those are my extras that I made. Then let's see here. We've got, remember, the 3 that came with our paper pumpkin kit. This way, I think it went this way. This one. And this one. And then finally the ones that we made together tonight. We've got this little thinking of you. I have this thinking of you with the sparkly seaweed, no, coral, that one's coral. And then we have our one with the birds and the sand and the cloudy sky. So I got quite a few cards out of this kit. I got a total of 9 cards still, but they're all different. And you can do that with your kit. Just, think outside the box. I typically, just to let you know, the first ones I make are the ones that Stampin' Up! Is designed for me, because it just kind of gets the juices flowing, the creative juices. So that's how I work my paper pumpkin kit. If you would like to order any of the supplies I used tonight, or get yourself signed up for your own paper pumpkin subscription, you can go to my website, heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order is under $150, you're still going to qualify, remember, for those Sale-a-bration gifts. But if your order is under $150, I'd really appreciate it if you would use this host code. This helps me to be able to continue to provide these videos for free, and prizes that I give away in my weekly Wednesday shows. If your order's over $150, please don't use the code, because then you will have some free gifts coming to you from Stampin' Up! And I want to make sure that you are the one who receives them. If you have any questions about anything that I've shown tonight, or even questions about joining my team, I'd love to chat with you. You can send me an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a private message here on Facebook. When this is all over, I upload it to YouTube. So if you're watching the replay on YouTube, make sure to give me a like and subscribe to my page. If you click on the little bell, it gives you notification when I've uploaded new videos. And here on Facebook, if you would give me some likes if you liked what you saw tonight, or share the video, that really helps me grow my business, and I love it when you do that. So thank you guys all for joining me. I had a great time sharing my paper pumpkin alternate ideas with you, and hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time with my weekly Wednesday show. Have a great week, everybody.